While DC's Night Terrors technically started last week, we got our first issue of Night Terrors this week with Night Terrors #1. And you know what? That's just about right for an event like this because I feel like this is an event just like Nightmares that never end. They catch you at your worst moments and they never end. And you know what? That's how I felt about issue #1 of Night Terrors.
Huh.
We'll get to that. We've got 5 books
How
on the
many?
docket. 5.
Out.
And all 4 pals. So that's a beautiful thing. Hello.
The gang's all here.
You got
What's up, hot dogs?
Kale. He already did his intro.
Hot dogs.
Yeah. Marco.
Here.
Tyler.
Yo.
I'm Sean. And other than Night Terrors #1, we've got Doom Patrol #4. We've got Fallen Friend, The Death of Miss Marvel.
#1.
#1, yeah.
Yeah.
Amazing
I mean-
Spider-Man #29. It's the pick of the week. We can get that out of the way. And Immortal X-Men #13.
Hey, fucking can we? Because
We'll get to it. We'll get to it.
To get to that, we have to get through Night Terrors #1. This is by Joshua Williamson, written by Joshua Williamson, with art by Giuseppe Camuncoli, Stefano Nessi, and Casper Wingard. Colors by Frank Martin, and Wingard. Letters by Troy Pateri. If you're watching live, hello. How are you? How's it going? How's your Thursday night? What books did you pick up from the shop? As we start our conversation about Night Terrors. And I think for the issue we got last week, First Blood, which really could have been called Night Terrors issue 0, we felt it was solid enough. This, for me, was a significant step down.
Ooh, interesting.
Yeah.
Did not feel that.
I'm kind of with you, Sean. Even though I thought, like, we talked about the Howard Porter art last week. This one gives us 3 artists this time.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So I think that doesn't help at all. And none of them look like Howard Porter. So, yeah, I'm with you.
I'm with Marco, actually.
I knew that.
Because of
Because
the
of how
last
it ends.
the last
Wait,
page.
what does that mean?
Because of how it ends.
What is that like? No, genuinely, I don't want that. I want real deal. I'm not here for sausage. I'm here for the meat. Give me the steak.
Like my sausage?
That
I believe
rare
we call them
aged steak.
bangers where you are. Bangers.
That's right.
Yeah.
But what my struggle with this, or at least where I can sort of see where you're coming from, is that it deviates from the event because it feels like the event going off of last week is following Batman,
Yeah.
actual Batman. Whereas this just feels like a side story.
It felt like it recontextualized the event to be a Dead Man event. And I was like, is that who we want on the marquee? Like, cool, but
Well, yes, but
but like is that, I feel like that's not what was advertised potentially.
It was marketed as Batman, Deadman, Sandman.
Mhm.
My 3 men, essentially.
Yeah, I mean, I got no problem with that. Dead Man, I'm not a fan of Dead Man, but that has nothing to do with whether or not this can be a good book. I felt like, when you tell me issue #1 of an event comic book from either big 2 publisher, this is not the kind of comic book that I'm thinking we're going to be getting. Not by any stretch. This doesn't even feel like issue 1. I'm not even sure what it feels like. First Blood definitely felt like issue 1. But if you didn't read that and you started with this, do you fully understand what the hell's going on?
No.
You know what this felt like? It felt like the backup to issue 1. Like a backup to issue 1 that never happened.
Yeah.
Because in terms of actual plot progression, we don't get much. We get a little bit of backstory on this insomnia fella, but outside of that, not much.
Well, I think the focus of the plot is sort of the wrong direction. Like, the end is zombie. Spoilers here, just in case. Just in case, we'll get our spoilers right now. Spoiler show. We've left you as long as we can.
Mm.
The end of the issue is zombie Wesley Dodds.
Hmm.
And to anyone reading in 2023, who cares? I love Wesley Dodds.
I wasn't even sure he was dead. Like, I had no idea on the
Yeah.
status of him.
Why is he dead?
Yeah.
I just that's Dead Man's big goal. And this is ostensibly issue 2.
So Comic Boom says that Williamson clearly does not understand Dead Man, though. He should not be able to possess dead bodies, only live bodies. Joshua missed the memo. I think what's posited here, though, is not that he's possessing Sandman, but rather he used Lazarus juice,
Yeah,
I
or
guess.
whatever.
Jarred juice to bring Sandman back.
To
So
wake him up. Yeah.
Yeah. And as far as being able to like take over undead bodies, he's able to take over different, like they don't have to be alive necessarily. There's an old this is where my Swamp Thing knowledge
There we
actually
go.
comes into play. Challengers of the Unknown back in the late 70s. There's an issue where Deadman crosses over with Swamp Thing and with Challengers of the Unknown, and he takes over Swamp Thing, and like they go on an adventure with the Challengers, and he's able to possess. I don't think it necessarily matters who or what he can possess, but as long as he's able to imbue his spirit into the body, he's able to take them over.
And I'm sure that's absolutely canon. So
yeah, that's the thing. Like, what was that, Marco? The 70s? Who knows if that's...
Who
thing
knows if
anymore.
that's still around? But still,
Yeah.
hey, gotta flex. I gotta flex my shit where I can. Okay.
Okay.
That's an interesting turn of phrase. So Tyler referenced the 3 artists on the book, and that was a bit of an issue for me. I really, really like Kamunkoli. Like he
Same.
I think he is super talented. And so I was happy to see him here. Casper Wingard, of course, is someone that I've seen before as well. Stefano Nessi was new to me, but I think my biggest problem was that there wasn't a tremendous amount of consistency between the artists, and for me, it was jarring at times.
For me, it was like, I think the consistency for the individual art was good. Kamunkoli stuff was colored a little differently, but it still looked good. I think that was like the Batman scenes is when you see Kamunkoli.
Yeah.
And then Wingard dealt with the Deadman, stuff. Well,
yeah.
But Kamunkoli and Wingard are very different artists. So
I thought
it was jarring to jump between the two.
Well, see, I thought narratively that worked though.
Same.
Because
Sure.
Deadman is very obviously narrating something different.
I think
then it jumps into the action.
The conceit is Nightmare World versus Real World, I think, between the two artists.
Could be, yeah.
I don't know where Nessie was, though. I don't know which pages he did.
And I think it's that there's
Splashes,
like
maybe?
no, there's like a one in sort of in the middle, right before the end, where things feel like I don't even.
I wonder if it's the
cartoony.
Sandman stuff.
For me, it looked like the cartoony bits where, like all the heroes are there. There's like this.
No, that's
panel where
Wingard.
they're undead. Is that Wingard? Oh,
Yeah.
Never mind then.
I'm like 99% sure it's Wingard.
Yeah, I'm confident that's Wingard.
Remember when comics would tell you which artist did what pages?
Yeah. That would be a lot. That would make a lot of sense.
God, if only an editor had, one more task to do, but it's fine.
I guess I don't mind. Again, I talked about Deadman a little bit. It seems weird to me to center an event around him to this degree. This is your summer tentpole event. This is not a character that they've been focusing on or, putting at the center of things prior to, the last, yeah, right. So, it's a weird choice. And then to pair him up with a villain who's also not, I don't know. I don't even know if he's a new villain, quite frankly. But whether he is or not, he's not familiar to me. And I've been reading DC Comics for almost a decade. So there's not a lot to connect with. And they try to kind of sell you on some of Deadman's history and things like that. And, I can feel those things. But when you got a guy saying, the villain Insomnia, I'm the god of nightmares. Oh, okay. What does that mean?
The whole time it's like, no, you're not. Yes, I am.
Yeah.
And that felt like it diminished his worth, or it felt like it diminished his, oh, this is a big bad. I'm supposed to be scared of this dude because, oh no, he's the god of whatever. I'm like, oh shit, okay, we gotta really deal with a dude. And then it turns out, no, actually he's just a human. He's sleeping. He's in the room right next door.
And this issue is such a microcosm in this massive event. And it's the banner title. It's the marquee title.
Yeah.
So, this is what different way could I say it? This is the event issue, the first issue of the event book, and it's so small, and like you guys say, we're dealing with this massive god of nightmares thing. What is the big deal?
We already got the MacGuffin of the Nightmare Stone in the Zero issue. They don't even need to set that up. They do a resetting of it up. I don't know. Are they under the assumption that people aren't reading the Rambo issue? What was it? Night Terror's First Blood?
Must be.
It's weird. And because honestly, think about where we go in terms of setting. Out a window. That's as far and then to a graveyard. There's two scenes really. 3, I guess, of the Nightmare Realm stuff. But yeah, not much happens here.
I agree with Top Lane in the chat. I just wish this event had a setup. I wish events in general had setups, and that's not something that the big two are too fond of anymore because people complain so much. But this event just feels awkward to me so far. And I thought the Batman tie-in was really good, but to be honest with you, my pull list this past Wednesday did not include a single Night Terrors tie-in. Not a single one. I was not leaving Midtown Comics with any of those tie-ins because nothing has justified that price tag yet. I'm not doing it.
The only one that caught my eye was the Zatanna one because A, it's Zatanna, B, Doom Patrol's in it, and C, Dennis Culver is writing.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I'm with you.
Yeah. So, I would say pass, to be honest. It's very difficult to recommend an event with a start that is this awkward. I think the first Strike issue was solid, and I think the Batman tie-in was great. I thought that was an excellent comic, but this is not the way you follow that up. And I don't get this event. I don't personally, seeing Sandman resurrected doesn't tickle my jimmies. That doesn't get me going. That's not a cliffhanger for a modern DC event. That's not what you do.
It's not wetting your whistle.
No.
Yeah.
No.
It weird thing too. The cover does not scream first issue of an event cover for me. No. Even in the cover, it doesn't feel like a first issue.
Yeah.
Well, the fucking First Blood is the.
That's the real first issue. Yeah.
That's the first issue. Why are we doing this?
Yeah.
That was an event issue.
Yeah.
Especially if issue 2 of this pushes the plot forward like it should. It almost even is a further condemnation of this weird single issue. Man, countdowns. Remember countdowns, Sean?
Absolutely, dude. I love that stuff.
What do you mean, Sean? I was there for that too.
I know. He was referring to build up previously. So
I think one of the I'm gonna pull on this only because, man, it's the where else am I gonna see Deadman and where else am I gonna see friggin' Wesley Dodds? Like, come on, that at the moment is the currently like that is the only draw for me at the moment is I want to see these characters, and if it takes my dollars to convince DC maybe we need more of these guys, fine.
I think that's really reasonable.
At least I get that Comicsology discount. 33 cents.
nice to see the CEOs actually deciding to lower prices.
Yeah, that's it.
Thanks, Bezos.
After wrecking the company, they can afford it now.
So before we move on, if you want to support the show, if you're enjoying what we're doing here, if you're watching live or you're not watching live, hit that like button. Let us know that you're enjoying it. It is a Thursday night in the middle of summer, and some of us have to turn our ACs off because they're too loud, and our fans off. So, you can't even account for how many pants are being worn between the four of us right now.
Probably
Luckily,
0.
Who knows?
Oh, should we take that bet?
Luckily, we only exist above the waist. That's the beauty of YouTube land. Even better in podcast land, you can't even see us. So what we look like is irrelevant. Love it.
Well, one thing that you don't know, viewers and listeners, Marco's actually a centaur. You just can't tell.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's actually I'm actually attached to the chair. So I roll with this.
Okay, all right.
So by that,
the Comics Pals OnlyFans.
Wow. We don't
like a
have one of
centaur.
those, but what we do have is a Patreon. Patreon.com/thecomics where we are proud to offer you guys a whole host of content, some bang for your buck, if you will. And this week we've got next week we've got the Palling Around that we just recorded. That was fun. That'll be out for you guys next week. The weekly newsletter, mine just went out. Wrote a little bit about what I'm thinking lately. That's what I tend to do. You get to vote in the book club poll. We've got Pulp that won the book club poll. That was Kale's pick, so we'll be doing that for you guys soon. If you want to get ready, you can buy your copy of Pulp, and be ready for it when we drop our review, or our book club rather. If you want to watch this show live, that's every single Thursday at 6 p.m. Eastern. Watch the main show every Saturday at 10:15 a.m. Eastern. A lot of DC news this week. A lot of DC news. So we'll be tackling that. And I, at least, and I'm sure the rest of the pals have something to say about what is happening in Hollywood right now. So
I don't know what you're talking about.
yeah,
Hollyweird.
you might not. Yeah.
If anyone knows any actors out there that want to get on the show and talk about this, who are in the guild, let us know.
Or don't.
Okay. All right.
But let us talk about Unstoppable Doom Patrol, number 4.
This was fun.
Okay. It was also written by Dennis Culver, with art by David LaFuente, colors by Brian Reber, and letters by Pat Brousseau. Marco, you say it's fun. Why was it fun?
I was down on the first issue when we first came across this, and I think this was to set up from a story perspective. I think it did a really good job of explaining each of these characters' sort of origins. It felt like kind of like a reset where, like, hey, we're taking stock of where these characters are, who these characters are, and that was helpful for potentially for new readers. So like from that end, the mechanics of that I thought worked pretty well. Dennis did a really good job of making me care about their individual issues, and that's already coming off the fact that I have a basis for them. But I like that they were like in therapy essentially and just kind of like talking these through. It was a slow issue, very talky, but I think that it services the individual characters and what we'll see probably down the line with their dynamics. And so seeing them talk to this therapist and how they could potentially bounce off each other, I thought was kind of fun. Even if it was a very just not dry, but it was just a slower issue, and I don't mind that.
So, correct me if I'm wrong. This was the bonus issue, right? That Culver mentioned. Yeah,
Yep.
it felt like that, and I don't mean that as a bad thing. Like this feels like a good like. All right, I can pretty much write this issue for whenever, and we can slot it in as like a filler issue. And sometimes filler is most of Naruto, or sometimes it's this where it's actually enjoyable. Where you can kind of get like a breakdown of all the different characters, especially since 2 of them are new. One kind of just came back to life previously, and we never really got a follow up on that with Rita. And it's also drawn by David LaFuente, who I love. I'm a big LaFuente guy. So seeing him actually work on a full issue and it's Doom Patrol, yeah, I had a lot of fun with this one.
This was good. I am creeped out by Jerry, the therapist. And I really was hoping we wouldn't see Jerry again, but of course we had to get Jerry on the cover right on Front Street. And then throughout, this is a really like nasty book. There's a lot of body horror present. But it's good. It's good work on the Fuente's part, and I like the vibe of this comic book a lot. And when we interviewed Culver, one of the things that I expressed was that this is not my type of book. But it is, because what it does is, yeah, it's kind of quirky and off the beaten path, which maybe isn't my vibe. But what is my vibe is deep character study. And what is my vibe is finding the truth of characters and bringing it out. And I think every issue has done that very well. And this is no exception. Getting to sit down with these characters, learn a bit more about what makes them tick. I thought it was maybe an unnecessary issue, but I don't think that diminishes from the fact that I'm really glad we got it.
I didn't particularly care for this for the exact reason you just said. To me, it felt I don't know. It's hard to say unnecessary because they wrote it. If they felt it was necessary, it was necessary. But I just didn't. I didn't feel like I needed this. And it felt like a lot of text and a lot of background stuff, and not a lot of. For me, it didn't feel like a lot of movement until the end and the thing with Chief.
Oh, it was no movement.
Yeah, even worse.
LaFuente's art felt dissonant compared to Burnham, and I can see the craft, but for me there was a mismatch tonally there, and that's probably my only gripe with it. And even then, it's minor. It's just like I'm not as big a fan of the art in the context of this story and these characters, or for what Doom Patrol might be. But yeah, I mean, otherwise, this is probably my pick of the week.
Hell yeah, listeners! There we go.
This was your pick of the week?
I mean, compared to some of the other stuff.
Well, I'll talk about one other thing. But the conceit that this therapy room is this imagination dimension, because it's fifth dimensional beings in Jerry's head, as a way to show actual flashback panels that the characters can also see.
That was cool.
I thought that was great. I thought that was a really fun way of doing that. Really, I don't know whose idea that was. I feel like a lot of Dennis Culver stuff, it's like very, I can never know if it's an artist's idea or the writer's idea, because I think he writes well for the art, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
I love that. I mean, that was also like, that's classic Doom Patrol, playing with the format of it.
And from our interview, he talks about how he works with artists. He
Mhm.
hangs out with
Yep.
artists. He works in a
He
studio.
is one.
He is an
Yeah.
artist.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah. So I'm sure, he probably has like a good long conversation and a sketch, of what he wants to do.
There's a thumbnail of this issue somewhere in his studio right now. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
I will say one thing I was really into. Elasta, what's her name? Elasta Woman.
Woman, yeah.
Rita Farr, I
And-
think. Yeah.
Yeah. And Flex Mentallo, talk about a power couple.
Yeah, same.
Oh, mama.
Isn't that just Mr. and Mrs. Incredible?
Basically.
Yeah, probably.
Just like a weird
But
version of it.
si-
It's like Mr. and
but
Mrs. Incredible
sexier.
if they saw you from across the bar and liked your vibe.
But not
Yeah.
Disney.
I dug it. I agree, Kale.
Yeah. Oh, we gotta do Flex Mentallo someday.
I need to get like a bonk animation to be able to put on each of our squares whenever.
I think this kind of issue is not really in favor anymore in comics. Because runs are much shorter than they used to be. Like you're not really getting run. Like I feel like we're lucky if we get a run that goes past 20 issues with the same people.
Less than
Yeah, less than that. Yeah, that's way more than average. But this is the kind of issue where maybe this run isn't right for it, arguably because of how short it is. But the run was extended to include this. But like when you're dealing with characters for several issues, you're talking about dozens of issues. You want to lean in with them. And you get the time to do that. I'm glad that Dennis Culver and co got the time to do this one, even if it doesn't move anything forward. I actually care about these characters now, and that's only because of the work done in this comic, not this particular one, but the run.
Yeah, I think recontextualizing Rita, big deal, and then like Beast Girl, we don't know who the hell she is. She just showed up in the first issue, so
yeah.
Her horrible life backstory is important.
That was so sad.
But like but like the idea that like kids are a lot more resilient. That was a great little bit in this as well.
Pull.
It's a pull for me.
Ooh.
Pass. So you pass on this issue or the series at this point?
Oh, just this issue.
Okay. Yeah.
Like I think this feels like a recap. So I think if if you were to skip this, I wouldn't think it would be that big a deal.
Atomic Hound says it felt like a Secret Files issue.
Yeah, you'll see this at the back of the trade, with character profile information, their height and weight and favorite food or whatever. Like in the old days, anyway.
Top Lane asks, any chance they make this an ongoing? I don't think so.
I don't think that's what Culver wants.
I don't think that's what I don't think Burnham would want it. I don't think Culver wants it. I think maybe they would come back to Doom Patrol down the line as a creative team, but I can't see this getting extended.
Or maybe they'll do something different with it, but I don't think it'll be this story that they're telling.
I'm used to, with Doom Patrol, enjoying a run and never seeing another one again for 6 years. Sucks. I mean, like the 90s was probably the most consistent Doom Patrol we'll have, honestly.
CW Gordon says never read any Doom Patrol, so a recap was kind of nice, I guess. And I think I fall in there as well as somebody whose only exposure to Doom Patrol is what we did for a book club and a few episodes of the show, which is of course going to be different. I appreciated some of the recaps of the backstories and things like that, but again, it's definitely not an issue that moves. So if propulsion is what you want out of your comics, this ain't gonna be the issue for you. Will the next book be for you, though?
I doubt it.
Well, that seems to be the sentiment online because we're talking about Fallen Friend The Death of Miss Marvel, #1.
Let's fucking go.
Kale's
There-
ready.
So this was broken up into 3 chapters. You have the Kamala chapter. I believe the second chapter is called Champions, and then the third one is Avengers. And we'll go chapter by chapter. I think that's reasonable enough. The first one is Kamala, and it's written by G. Willow Wilson with art by Takeshi Miyazawa, colors by Isaiah Herring, and letters by Ariana Mayer. Now, this is a hard issue to talk about.
It is.
This is a hard issue to talk about. Because forget about chapters. I enjoyed this a lot. I thought this was really good.
As a
Yet
whole.
The whole thing?
As a whole. Yet another time where I will be on an island. That's okay with me.
I'll bite my own finger off. It made me so mad.
Well, that's something you should check out.
Hmm.
I thought that this was the exact kind of sort of send-off that I would expect for Miss Marvel. A showing of the characters that love her, the people that are in her life, who came to the mosque, which is not a place that's going to be comfortable for the majority of them, to show respect. I appreciated the interspersing of memories and flashbacks with her. And seeing characters from Miss Marvel's supporting cast who I haven't seen in a while. What made it awkward was the fact that we are definitely, for sure, 100% definitely getting her back really, really soon. And Marvel's not even hiding that fact.
No,
So that made this feel weird.
she's dead. We just read the issue, Sean.
Sean, did you read the bonus?
I know about what Cyclops said.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
What?
Yeah, because I know you read physically, and we didn't. So okay, I wasn't sure if you
Oh.
didn't know about it.
Yeah. Can we talk about that?
What's going on?
You don't know about this for real?
I read the book. I don't know what you're talking about.
The last
But
page,
genuinely.
I'll bring it up. So in the physical, there is a page that you do not get in the physical copy. I think Marvel called it a digital exclusive page. Where Cyclops, who was noticeably absent from the Champions bit, because he was on the Champions with Kamala when he was young Cyclops during Brian Michael Bendis' run.
This isn't the same person. It's worth pointing that out.
It is the same person. He got aged up, so he retains all memory. It was weird. There was like a mind meld thing where like young Cyclops was still his past, so he got all the memories. Older Cyclops, it's a thing. So it's still the same person.
Oh, okay. I
Yeah.
stand corrected.
So this Cyclops did, our Cyclops was with the Champions, but he was noticeably absent, and then he pretty much just says, "Hey, I'm not going to talk about it today, but you'll find out soon. She'll be all right." How do you feel about it not being physical, Sean?
You know what? I think that's a really, really dumb, silly decision on Marvel's part. I can't fathom. Trying to push people towards digital, sure. Trying to get people to look at their digital platforms. But that feels like a slap in the face. I'm never going to pick up my phone and scan a QR code.
Oh, that's how they did it.
Yeah,
Whoa.
I'm
Oh
not
my
doing
gosh.
Wait, why
Yeah.
not? That's easy.
that. Because I don't care about it. If you
Just
want me to
2
know
seconds.
it should be in the comic book.
Wait. Did you have so that doesn't just like pop up a page? It asks you to therein download said issue.
I didn't do it. I'm not gonna do it.
Wait,
I
I
have
want to
no
know,
idea.
but I
Wait.
want to know what it does.
Yeah, Sean,
What
put it on the
fucking
screen
do
real
it
quick.
Yeah, you asked me if I did it. I told you I didn't do it.
Sean, put it on the screen real quick.
Okay.
I want to see if this works.
All right, sure.
So I read it digitally on Marvel Unlimited, and what I got was a scroll-based webcomic. So I had to read this motherfucker panel by panel
Damn.
Couldn't swipe to get a page turn. I had to scroll and look at everything.
That
And
sucks.
I sent Tyler clips of my experience because it sucked. Like I was just like forced to focus on each panel,
And it's like
and it
the smallest panel
yeah,
gets his whole page.
it made it
yeah.
it made it like there were my whole screen at one point was white. Like why? I don't and like I tried all the different I went back to the other issues.
I tried troubleshooting with you.
I went to, X-Men to make sure that wasn't like that. I tried Spider-Man. I tried an old issue to make sure that the smart whatever wasn't on. They just did it.
So to give context, the QR code just brings up a website that you have to zoom in on the page. It's not even like a digital comic, it's like a JPEG that you have to zoom in on, and then you can get the full page.
Gross.
Yeah, the fact that this comic book costs $5 and I then have to open my phone and
You can get
scan
the
a
whole thing.
QR code is a joke. That's a joke. You got to be kidding me. But to take it back to my controversial opinion, other than that fact, I thought this was good.
Oh.
Go ahead.
I had my biggest issue with this was like it was nice seeing that original creative team back.
Yeah.
I love that original Miss Marvel run. And this felt it was great seeing them back, but it felt wrong. Because the thing I loved about that book was how light it was and lighthearted and optimistic it was, but also being realistic. And this was just depressing. And not only that, it felt like the writers also didn't really know what was happening.
Well, I actually really enjoyed the original creative team on this first issue. This was the place where I really felt it.
Same.
Like when Captain Marvel shows up and they all like break down, I genuinely, and this doesn't happen to me, I genuinely like teared up. Like I was like, oh shit, I didn't feel anything about this before. Now I'm really feeling something. So I think G. Willow Wilson, like she might not have gotten the context or gotten, the full rundown of everything that happened, but like she hit the emotional core. Like this might have been her Kamala funeral scene. Like all the bullshit previous, Zeb Wells, Spider-Man, all that. This chapter to me felt like G. Willow Wilson's like, this is a point in Kamala Khan's life that I have thought about writing before. And it felt real. It felt authentic. The emotions were high and they felt real.
I think the advantage of it being a bit more community focused was nice, whereas the other ones kind of deviate into, oh, we're focusing on Spider-Man, or we're focusing on him arriving late, or it's this argument between Amadeus and Viv, where it like takes the moments away and doesn't actually accentuate what we're here for. We're here to honor someone's memory, and you're kind of like stepping on, like you're not gonna throw a fit at a funeral, you know what I mean? Like that to me was just like, what are we doing here?
I've got shit to say about that.
We'll get to that. Yeah.
Kale's like, maybe at my funeral I cut. But I think that hurt those stories for me. Where the first one was, because it was so intimate, it was very quiet. It was very, very just, you could feel that it was mournful. And I don't care that Kamala died. Like I didn't feel anything throughout this. Just because I don't have that connection. I've read the first 2 trades of Miss Marvel, and that's it. And a few issues where she pops up here and there. So for me, there's nothing tying me to like, oh my God, this is terrible that this individual died. It's like, okay, yes, they're gone. And but what Jewel Wilson does is you can feel that void, and I can see that and I can understand that, even if even if it doesn't directly affect me.
Plot question, I guess. They're mourning more than one person because other people have died who go to this mosque.
Right.
What happened?
Yeah, what was up with that?
People died
But in what event?
In the battle,
in
I
life,
guess.
the event of life.
Oh, is
It-
that
They're
what that
just
was?
human beings that died.
No, it felt like to me it was an event happened, and that was a mass funeral. That's how I was reading it.
Same.
Oh, I didn't get that at all.
Okay, I could have been
I
reading
thought
it
the
wrong.
same thing. No, I thought the same thing where I'm like, oh, like in addition to Kamala Khan, she was like a victim in everything that was going on. I'm like, I don't even remember that battle being that big. Like,
I'll see if I can
As
find the page. That
this is a
confused me.
khatam for all our brothers and sisters who were lost on that terrible day or are still missing, whether they are alive or not. These blessings will reach them.
right? Like,
Yeah,
Manny said,
was there a building that was knocked down or something? Like,
Manny says it's New York and Marvel. That's what happened.
that's the most logical explanation, I guess. But
So-
I guess I just took that prayer or whatever is for people who have died. It's like a general thing so that everyone can pray and not, it's not reserved for the people who know the prayer.
the
Let's
prayer
move
is-
on. Let's move on. Let's talk about chapter 2, Champion. This was by Mark Wade, pencils by Humberto Ramos, with inks by Victor Olazaba, colors by Edgar Delgado, and letters once again by Ariana Mayer. I really enjoyed this part. Really, really enjoyed it.
did you
And I
read
guess
the previous Champions run?
I read some of Mark Wade's Champions, but
Okay.
I
Yeah,
jumped
I
off
enjoyed
ship
that.
as-
Yeah, I really liked his Champions.
I enjoyed what I read.
Yeah.
I just, this is where you get to see who Miss Marvel is, who Kamala Khan is. This is where you get to see her relationship with her friends, who she is to them. And I really appreciated this part because this felt like a person that they were mourning. This made her feel real because she was pushy. She was feisty, she was their leader. And seeing the interaction between Viv and Cho, seeing their drama play out here, I don't know. I really enjoyed all this.
I
I'll
thought
tell you why. That's
Why?
some soap opera ass bullshit is why you enjoyed it.
Got that right.
I
yeah,
Go ahead, Tyler.
the Kamala stuff in this was good. I like the whole part of her, like not talking up to the Avengers, like kind of like being on the same level. Like those flashbacks were good. But the Amadeus Cho stuff is so out of character, I felt. Like even after reading the Champions book, like yeah, they were rivals, but there's no world where Amadeus Cho causes a scene at someone's funeral. You know what I mean? Like the Viv stuff, sure, emotional chip. I've watched Star Trek. I understand Data. That's fine. But the Amadeus Cho stuff became like the focal point for me of the story that then took away from the objective, in my opinion. Which
Because-
again, I guess maybe that's the point of it because we're supposed
Yeah.
to feel. But it just doesn't feel like Amadeus Cho to me.
But that's the exact point. You don't know what Amadeus Cho's like when his friend is dead.
His friend's Bruce
Um,
Banner. He's seen it plenty of times.
Like he's having an emotional, visceral reaction, and so is Viv, and I think that was really compelling, and it shows that these are young people who aren't always going to make the right decisions emotionally and in the way they express themselves.
I don't know. For me, this issue, this Mark Wade issue is what I have a problem with when I talk about Mark Wade writing teenagers. I just she didn't feel feisty. Kamala didn't feel feisty and leader like to me. It came off as a brat to me, and her friends did the same. And I really felt like I saw the gears turning in this. To me, especially compared to the first chapter, the next 2 chapters to me really felt like the writers weren't sure how to, write a service or whatever, or write what would be respectful, in that environment. So they made up drama to, make something happen. And man, it just did not work for me.
I think I felt the same way, Co.
So, I mean the Ramos art was also really welcome. It
Yeah.
made me want to go back and read this Champions run.
Read Strange Academy. Real good
I
stuff there.
can't do Strange Academy.
Really, especially so you like Ramos and you like teen magic mystical stuff.
Yeah,
That's strange. Interesting.
I tried it. It didn't click.
Scotty Young
Writing.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah,
writing. Yeah.
and that was
Oh.
probably what it was, honestly.
I'm not crazy about
Um,
his writing.
But the third chapter was Avenger, written by Saladin Ahmed, with art by Andrea DeVito, with colors by Edgar Delgado, and of course Ariana Mayer. Yeah. So this one prominently features a conversation between the Mustache Bros, Doctor Strange, and Iron Man, who are kind of wrestling with the idea that they could potentially have the power to bring Miss Marvel back. And I think every time someone dies, there is this consideration of, well, oh, couldn't Doctor Strange just do something about it? And it is weird to be witnessing them have this conversation in which they both agree that it would be wrong to bring her back when them and every one of their friends has died and come back. But while I know that, I enjoy not thinking about things like that when I read comics. So the idea that there's a cost to simply resurrecting someone means something to me if it means something to them. And so that didn't bother me ultimately.
Did you like his cartoon plumber analogy?
Fine.
I thought it was apt for this new chatty Doctor Strange. In
Right.
in a way that makes it understandable. I didn't like that because it felt weird that they were having that at a funeral.
It did?
That makes sense. Like you're there, you're like
The
talking
the
about
conversation. I mean, they're having that conversation at a funeral where her friends and family are within an earshot.
I thought they kind of went off on the side for it, where I was like, I mean, how do you hide as Iron Man and Doctor Strange in front of a whole bunch of normal people? But yeah,
I laughed out loud at the moment where the Wrecking Crew guy was Steel, and he just so happened to be in the worst possible place for that.
that was Pile Driver, right?
I can't keep up with their
Oof,
names
I
outside of
think-
Absorbing Man.
He's not a Wrecking. Absorbing Man's not even in the Wrecking Crew.
What?
It's Wrecker, Thunderball, Pile Driver.
Yeah, you're right.
Oh.
The big head guy. Oh,
Uh,
yeah, that's Pile Driver. Okay, cool.
I only know the crowbar one.
That's Wrecker.
I thought that moment was a little cheesy. I see
It
why,
was.
but yeah.
It was cheesy, yeah.
Bulldozer. That's what it was. Yeah. Okay. Wrecking Crew Bulldozer. Got it.
And then Spider-Man meets Kamala's parents and says she was his hero.
Bro, he showed up late to that too. Like, Peter sucks. I gotta be
He would show up
honest.
late to his own funeral. That's the Peter Parker way.
I know, but like, God, you essentially caused this poor young woman's death, and you show up late. Oh, I hate when people are like late for stuff. So Peter pisses me off.
Yeah. Grow up.
Miles is there on time. Pro Miles, anti Peter.
I think they did that. I think Saladin probably made that choice to underscore how good Kamala was, because they're juxtaposing Peter's inability to do things properly as an adult versus her, not perfectness, but he highlights how she's better than he was at that age and how she's better than he is now. And I think that's why they did it. I don't know. I feel like this book has been getting raked over the coals, and I anticipated a disaster when I read it, and I really came away with something that I enjoyed quite a bit. And if it wasn't for the fact that I really enjoyed the next two books, it might have been my pick of the week.
I think the next one's my pick.
Yo,
I don't know
Sean,
what order we're going in though.
Let me get what you're drinking, bro, because like
For real.
Blue Moon. You want to jump on board with that? Feel free.
got my bottled Coke. Thank you very much.
Yeah, this is a hard pass.
Mm-hmm.
This to me feels just like Marvel cashing in,
Farted something out.
Yeah.
I say if you want to read a good G. Willow Wilson book, there was a much better one on the stands today.
Manny says TBH Wade is technically writing My Generation. I thought he did a good job.
I don't know how old Manny is.
Well, Manny seems like a young man, like early 20s, maybe late teens.
I thought I'm not gonna guess Manny's age.
He's got Monkey D. Luffy on his icon. So
well,
he's
he said he's writing his generation. That's like we're having a conversation.
He's got a One Piece avatar, so he's a baby.
He's a man of taste.
Baby of taste.
Sean, is the next
Amazing.
one? Oh yeah, okay, it is Amazing Spider-Man. All right.
Spider-Man number 29. You guys know the drill by now. Zeb Wells, Ed McGuinness, Mark Farmer on inks with colors by Marcio Menes, Joe Caramagna on the letters. Again, it's almost like you could rerun any of my reviews for this book. It's so fun. I thought that this issue particularly did a good job of exploring the relationship of Doc Ock and Norman for those of us who didn't read Superior. I thought that Zeb Wells choosing to re-show us some of the stuff that I guess happened then around that time was a really smart decision. And it underscored, like, seeing, and I should have had you, Tyler, pull this page up, but seeing the shot. Perfect. See, that's why we get along. Seeing the shot of Green Goblin, going off on Doc Ock, gleefully telling him how much he's going to take from him, and Norman having to sit there and see this play out, and we know that he can't connect with that. That feels like a different guy, but he has the guilt associated with being the Green Goblin in a former life, and this is what he wrought.
And even that, Otto doesn't remember this either because he got mind wiped there in Spider-Man Beyond, right at the tail end of him being Superior Spider-Man. So like, he doesn't even remember this. So it's this weird thing of like having this gnawing sensation that this person is the cause for a lot of your issues. And you can't really know what it is, but it's just like a carnal urge to just make Norman pay for whatever it is that happened with him and Otto. And it's a good way of like kind of tying up a lot of weird continuity too. But I think works really well. And God, man, we only get it for like 2 quick looks, but Ed McGuinness' Green Goblin is so good.
Yeah.
I want more of that.
And I'm in love with this iteration of Doc Ock. There's a panel where he's just looking down at the helmet that he takes off of Norman's head. And that's so classic villain. Just look upon my works, like he's in love with what he's just done. And he's giving this whole speech. I've been on a journey of self-discovery, using this trifle the Beyond Corporation salvaged from Parker Industries. There are parts of my memory that have been taken from me. I suspect something infuriatingly supernatural, and I hope this contained them. It did not. But it did hold the record of you, and possibly outsmarting me. If you wanted me to feel shame, your wish was fulfilled. But now I have outsmarted you. I hacked your costume. I blew up your life. It is you who are shamed. Say it. Say it is you who are shamed. Zeb Wells ain't cooking?
There's that great awkward beat too, where Norman's like, "Well, that's all."
Yeah.
Are you kidding me?
He writes
This
a good
is
Ock.
fucking heat.
Yeah, he writes a good Doc Ock. Do we know who's writing that Superior Spider-Man returning thing or whatever that we got teased?
No.
Slot.
Oh, is it Slot?
Oh, is it
Oh,
Slot?
yeah, that's right. It
Oh,
would, yeah.
all right. Kind of like Zeb Wells' take on him here, but yeah. No, this was my pick of the week. That was a lot of fun. Ed McGuinness is one of my favorite artists of all time. So, and I pulled a page here that it's McGuinness's Doc Ock's, tentacle slapping Norman, and there's this real motion to it. That's like new McGuinness. It's like McGuinness taking a little bit more of a modern tool and adding it to his art and his repertoire, and I thought it was really good.
Yeah, McGuinness has got really kinetic.
Yep.
And man, we showed it earlier, but that Goblin page is
Yeah.
insane.
Even
I
panel
did
layout.
not expect that from McGuinness.
Yeah. This issue's just playing with panel work too. It's just doing some really, like, McGuinness was like, oh, he's the superhero book guy, and like, yeah, that's what this book is, but he's playing around with it more, and it's a lot more loose while still being real good McGuinness. Yeah.
I think I might have mentioned this in the last review we did. For me, I'm not as into it, but the craft is just here, and I can't question that. And it's just a good comic.
That's how
Insane.
I felt. Yeah, I read this after Fallen Friend, and I'm very glad I did because I needed to wash my brain out. And
it was quick too. It was just like it was one and done.
Yeah.
I blew through this.
You had to wash your brain out by reading the book where the event happened that caused the previous issue.
Yeah, bro. And then and that's another thing is like there was no fallout from that into this, and
Agreed.
like that still feels weird. But like whatever, we moved on. It's in another book now. All right.
No one can convince me that wasn't always intended to happen here.
Sure. Yeah.
Like that is definitely something that Zeb Wells had to do.
Can I also say why this is also my pick of the week? Because it's the return of one of the best Spider-Man creations in recent memory. With Wreck Rap.
Who was that?
It's a limbo demon who idolizes Spider-Man.
Oh, goofy.
That's it. It was in the dark web crossover. Oh, he's goofy as hell. He's stupid. I love it. Even the editor's box was like, there's no reason for him to be in this. He'll show up later on, but McGuinness really wanted to draw him. I just thought it was great.
Sure.
Yeah.
If that's what Ed McGuinness needs to do to continue to pump out work this high quality, by all means, Ed.
If they should have wrote another one of these editors' notes for when they killed Kamala, being like, Marvel really wanted, Kamala to die so they could bring her back as a mutant.
She'll be back in a later issue. Don't worry about it.
I think it is really focusing on Wreck Rap's feet, though. It's a little weird, I gotta say.
Is it?
Yeah. Oh, if you're into it, that's fine. I'm sorry.
Oh, I'm not the one that brought it up.
This was
smelt it, dealt it.
This was my pick of the week. I can't get enough of Amazing Spider-Man. You could IV this into my veins. Like, I'm so into what this creative team is doing, and I can't tell you how good it feels. I remember when I got the first issue of Amazing Spider-Man that I ever got in wrapping delivered to my house from Marvel Comics back in the day. I don't even know if they still do that anymore, when they used to you could have a subscription service with Marvel.
Yeah, I did that.
Very long time ago, almost 20 years ago. It feels very good to be reading Amazing Spider-Man again. Pull, pick of the week.
I saw a comment somewhere on this page that Tyler had, one of the pages that Tyler had pulled up on the tentacle arms, and it was like, "Yo, my man Spider-Man is in a rush, but gotta make sure it matches the fit." So he had to spray paint the tentacles and get that done.
You know it.
Yeah.
You know it.
That's like in any game you're in, you got to make sure your skin, the skin you got on, is right. Before you start playing.
stopping Norman from becoming the Green Goblin again is not nearly as important as
It's-
getting the look right.
Aesthetics.
Absolutely.
Why he was late to Kamala's funeral. He's too busy.
So, everybody gave their final opinion.
Yeah, Paul.
It's fine. It's Spider-Man. Pick it up if you like it.
Well, I like Immortal X-Men.
Now we're talking.
Ooh, this is
Yes.
close to being the pick of the week.
Very close for me as well. Immortal X-Men number 13, Kieran Gillen, writer. Lucas Wernick on art. David Curiel on the colors. Clayton Cowles on the letters. I cannot believe that's the first time I've said that name today. Immortal X-Men really, ever since Sins of Sinister ended, this book has been cooking.
Yep.
And this issue, I think, will please a lot of people. I had some problems with it that I'm sure we will go to battle over. But overall, I thought this was a fantastic comic book. Kale, why did you like it so much?
You know what? This is another political issue that I think just really fucking worked. The little bit of action in here was driven. And it revealed things that we needed to know. And we also we get to see Xavier taking down a peg. And I love that. But I think the real selling point for me here is that it's a Cypher issue. And Cypher is it is Cypher, right, Doug?
Yeah.
Doug is someone that we haven't heard from in a while. And getting to actually interact with Krakoa and the see Doug and Krakoa's relationship, even at the slightest hint of doubt that Doug has, Krakoa fills it. Man, this worked all the way to town for me, man.
Nice.
The cool thing is that Doug has the ability to understand language. So that, manifests itself in ways that, like he's the only one who can talk to Krakoa because that's a language. But also he's always at every quiet council meeting. He's there. And body language is the thing. So he's reading the whole situation from a point that a lot of people can't. So him kind of eventually becoming the voice for Krakoans, really, and Krakoa, the creature in Island, I thought that was a great thing. I did feel this issue was a bit like we need to tie up a lot of weird stuff that happened in the past 2 years, like mentioning all the Sabretooth stuff. It kind of, I saw the editorial behind it all a bit. It's like, all right, we need to kind of condense everything. Mentioning Nightcrawler is going off on his own so he can be Spider-Man. I kind of saw the I guess the gears turning in the back. But I thought it was a good issue. Gillen is pretty good at talking heads, even though this is the third talking head issue we had in a row of this.
Serve it up.
Yeah,
he's good at it.
Yeah.
He's good at it.
Quickly, all that worked for me, especially the Sabretooth stuff, because I didn't know any of it. I wasn't about to read all that.
That's my point. Yeah. It's because I don't know if people are reading those books. Yeah.
There was a lot of housekeeping.
Yeah.
For sure. And I think some of that stuff bothered me, but in the case of the reference to Sabretooth in particular in the pit, that felt more like this is something we need to talk about. Because I felt like this issue was addressing some of the things that are uncomfortable about Krakoa. Like some of the things, even in the formation of it, that are uncomfortable. We analyzed the pit when that happened, when we saw that. And one of the questions was, is this okay to do? Is this an ethical choice? I don't feel that the question is answered in a way that has nuance in this issue. And that is a problem for me. I think the only problem I have with Immortal X-Men is that I feel like things happen that are definitely not okay, but people like are okay with them. Doug did not do an okay thing by not putting Sabretooth in the pit. That was not cool. And I think he betrayed a trust that was given to him when he shouldn't have taken. If he wasn't down with what was being done, then he shouldn't have agreed. And I have a problem with that, but I like that. I like it because that's life. That's people.
It's a character choice.
Yeah.
You got
You get good tension from there. Like it's good dynamics at that point. Yeah, agreed.
Destiny, she's going through some stuff right now because everything is falling apart. And I love Selene and Colossus. All that stuff is so beautiful because this council now is fully corrupt. It's over. Literally, this is the end of the council.
I wonder what this is. What Gillen's trying to say here, because I feel like there's a part of Gillen, he's very progressive. So having this, government not work and just tearing it all down, it's a frequent thing in a lot of Gillen's work. So I like that. I'm tired of the Quiet Council. Get him out of here. I don't know what the solution is, and it doesn't look like the X-Men do either. But
I think that's the biggest problem. Again, it's not a problem with the storytelling because I think the storytelling has been great. But looking at the mutants and the situation that they find themselves in now, it's like everyone is so worried about doing the right thing, quote unquote, now, but you have Selene, who is in league with Orcus, on the team, and it's not okay to just take her out of the equation. That's not cool.
The system isn't working. Yeah.
The system isn't working. She's in league with their enemies. She gotta go. And to me, right? Not getting rid of Sinister early was a mistake. And to me, they're making the same mistakes. It's just that now the power is more so in the hands of the young people, the people who aren't Charles Xavier or Magneto, who didn't keep secrets initially. The power is in everybody else's hands, so it's okay because it's not the old white guys. They had the right idea, but they got outsmarted and they had some bad luck.
So they mentioned they're going to be announcing this at the Hellfire Gala. So we finally have our big moment. That's going to happen. What if the Hellfire Gala vote that we just had was for their president? And not for like, it just feels like that vote doesn't matter anymore because like that's going to be such a side bit for whatever that issue is.
I mean, this is the third year in a row.
I guess
it's not even 12 issues. We have this conversation every time we talk about the Hellfire.
We could have had Surge as Krakoan president.
It just like it doesn't matter.
But this gives us a reason to tune in to the gala again. Like I thought that was cool. Like I'm like, all right, fine. Like,
I agree.
You've been presenting this and it's kind of fallen flat the last year. Like, oh, sweet. All right, this has consequence. It will now affect the next book, and it's even in another title. That works.
Yeah, agreed.
A couple of comments real fast. CW Gordon, I just want to fix teams so damn bad. I feel you. I don't love the voting aspect. I thought it was a neat trick the first time, but to continue to do it is just a little bit weird. And then Zachary May says, what should I read to lead into this X-Men story? So I think you're in luck because you don't have to go too far back. If you read House and Powers of X, which are collected, that is the Jonathan Hickman magnum opus of the X-Men. So you get into that and you will have an understanding of this era in general. After that, I think you probably want to read Immortal X-Men 1 to now. And you can kind of pick and choose from there. I think those are the primary. Oh, and Inferno. If you read House and Powers, Inferno, and Immortal, you'll be good to go, in my opinion.
If you want to read more, read Hickman's X-Men as well to supplement in between. Yeah, but those three will do it.
Yeah. I have so much more to say. If you guys want to keep talking about this, like,
Let's go.
Yo, soapbox it
Yeah.
up.
well, because this issue also does a great job of highlighting characters who, I mean, I guess it's kind of well-worn territory by now, but like Exodus is somebody who we've been living with for all these years, and his stock has risen and risen and risen, and we get that epic clash between him and Storm, where they're both kind of like, we could tear this whole shit down with how powerful we are. But I have a bone to pick with Storm. I don't think she should stand in the way.
What do you mean?
I think Exodus was correct, and I think she should have allowed Celine to die.
But but her opposition to that wasn't necessarily that she felt he was wrong, but the resulting punishment would all. Oh no, I guess that was if they were to fight, huh? Never mind.
Right.
Answer my question.
Yeah.
She doesn't want him to kill Celine because that's wrong.
Sure.
But what Celine is doing is wrong. And I feel like when this Krakoan era started, they had a clear way of dealing with that. It was called the pit, and they threw people in there. But that got thrown out the window. So to deal with Celine, they got to kill her, but they're not going to allow her to die. So they're accepting the corruption. And that feels worse to me than what Charles and Magneto did, because that was about collaboration and unification, whereas this is about more morality.
Covering it all up
Yeah.
to keep going. Yeah, I'm with that.
I love this book. Kieran
Yeah.
Gillen is killing it.
Yeah, this is my
Okay.
pick of the week. I can't believe I'm back on here talking about the X-Men again. I didn't think it
yeah.
would happen. I thought it was over.
Your feelings on Krakoa era is like Big Show's heel and face turns.
I guess so.
Very
Sure.
frequently going back and forth.
I have quick notes on the art. I like Wernick. I think Wernick is talented. Still some work to be done on the Storm. Sometimes I thought her face was off. The same could probably be said about a few people, but I noticed Storm in particular. Celine still rocking the half gloves. That is my favorite thing about the art style in the Krakoan era. It's the
Bonk.
greatest thing going.
Bonk bonk.
And in general, I think the way that Krakoa itself is presented is phenomenal. It's such a cool thing. And the fight between Storm and Exodus, brief but super cool looking.
Well, and Exodus and Celine.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
It's so dynamic, and the effects that Wernick uses are scratchy, and you see it even in a couple of little places throughout the book, and man, it's very, I think I already said it, dynamic. It really works.
Yeah, seeing this compared to Wernick's stuff on the Death of Scarlet Witch, Trial of Magneto, that's what it actually was. It's nice to see an actual growth
Progress.
Night
in
and
real
day.
time. Yeah.
Man.
Yeah.
The first time he's taken off his helmet.
The professor?
No, but it's like it's
One of the
few
few.
and far between. Yeah.
Sure.
I feel like he took that shit off like 3 weeks ago.
Yeah, it was off for all of Sinister.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
CW Gordon says, I'm finally not mad that Hickman left. And I don't want to talk about that, but I did want to ask you guys, do you think what do you think Hickman's position on the pit was? Because that is that's like the original sin of the Quiet Council as presented in this issue of Immortal X-Men. Do you think that Hickman intended it to be something that they would reckon with later, or do you feel like he saw that as a reasonable reaction or a reasonable punishment for the breaking of laws in Krakoa?
I think both. I think he meant for it to be an actual prison, but also there will be repercussions to it. You know, I don't know if he meant for Doug to be not actually, like, the pit really never existed until Sinister.
Right.
At this point, the whole Carcosi was a lie at this, until now. But I wouldn't be surprised if his plans for the pit were wildly different than what we're getting here.
Because that's the first thing that happens.
Yeah.
Like they establish Krakoa and then they throw Sabretooth in the Krakosi. Yeah, I think more was intended for sure.
Those are our books. Those are our books for the week. We've got more. We've got more to talk about because we're reading stuff. We're reading stuff. We're watching stuff. We got some stuff to talk about. So, pals, what you reading?
I checked out. It was cool that Doom Patrol won the listener poll, but I kind of wanted World's Finest Teen Titans #1 to win. So I read it anyway. Yikes.
Bueno?
I am loving World's Finest. It is probably like top 3 books for me right now. The Mark Waid, Dan Mora, Superman Batman story that right now is dealing with all of the robots of the DC universe, even like GI Robot, which is weird. So I was excited to see him tackle Teen Titans. I have no idea when this book is supposed to be set. Speedy is a live streamer, and the whole thing is that they live stream their escapades, and Speedy's like, it is
What?
Mark Waid doing teens again, and it's just I don't know when it's supposed to take place.
But I thought it was supposed to be like a flashback.
Apparently not, or they're doing a sliding time scale. I don't know.
Well, I guess sliding time scale wise, if the Teen Titans are almost 30, they're like mid-20s.
You still couldn't live stream,
10 years ago you could live stream
from your phone. Like
yeah, no.
Not as easy 10 years ago. No. I mean it was a process.
Maybe not as easily, but was it possible in 2013?
But I mean, I also don't expect Mark Waid to really know the intricacies of streaming. It just seems like a very modern thing, like a very 2023 thing that makes no sense in terms of the time scale for this.
Well, and it's gonna date horribly.
Yeah, it is. Yep. Aqualad and Wonder Girl are a thing as well.
That's kind of cute.
I don't know if that's canon or if that's previous. It's cool to see Bumblebee as part of this original team. But there's no explanation for it. MP in the YouTube chat says it's set in the past, late Silver Age, early Bronze Age, but with a sliding time scale. That does not compute for my brain. I'm sorry. You can't tell me something's Silver Age and then show me Twitch. Like this doesn't it doesn't work. I thought the Lupacino art was very good. But I don't know what the point of this is. This is weird.
I have to imagine it's the same as World's Finest Batman and Superman.
But that book feels like it's actively placing itself in an evergreen setting with evergreen plots, where this one instantly dated itself.
It could just be a misstep,
But what? Go ahead.
That's not a that's something a lot of writers do.
I guess. I don't know. I'll check out issue 2. But nah, I wasn't too hot on it.
I got it, and I'm excited. I was excited to open
First
it
Somni
up,
cover. First Somni.
Yeah, I wish those were the interiors.
Man, I know.
And
that one got me to buy that.
Real good, yeah.
Sean, you check out Hunger in the Dusk, which I read too. Once you told me it was going to be on your watch reading, I decided to pick it up. So,
yeah, this was the book that I wanted to win the poll. Which, by the way,
is now?
The poll is up every single Friday. So if you want to determine what gets read here on the show, you can do that by voting in the poll this week. Unstoppable Doom Patrol won. I think there was a retweet by Dennis Culver, which tipped the scales, but I'm glad it did because I thought it was a good book.
Yeah.
So the Hunger in the Dusk. Now, Tyler, I'm sure you had the same feelings that I did. This was G. Willow Wilson, creator owned at IDW, with art by Chris Wildgoose, colors by Masick, whatever. Letters by Simon Boland, color assistant Diana Sousa. I got heavy Warcraft vibe.
Oh, yeah.
I never read a comic book that had just like orcs and humans like this. And the
Smart orcs,
wild
too.
goose art. Sorry?
Smart orcs too. Like
Smart orcs,
they
yeah.
have their own civilization and everything. Yeah, they're not
Yup.
just mindless monsters.
The wild goose art was phenomenal. I thought this book was excellently colored. Several times I found myself wishing that this was a World of Warcraft comic. If they could only afford, Activision Blizzard can afford to get a creative team this good to do a book.
Microsoft now, apparently.
Yeah.
But
This first issue has all the makings of a really interesting fantasy epic. If you're into orcs and humans and magic and that kind of stuff, that Warcraft RPG vibe, this was for fucking me.
this might have been my pick of the
Absolutely.
week if this was allowed to be. The thing is, like, it is so cool to just get straightforward fantasy. Like, this is a fantasy book. It's not fantasy, but it's a Western. Or fantasy, but it's sci-fi, you know? It's orcs, humans, uneasy, and then they have a common enemy now. It's good looking.
Ooh.
Good looking, too.
C.W. Gordon says that he was waiting for the Void Rivals-esque reveal that this was a secret new WoW comic universe.
I had the exact same thought.
The orcs didn't look quite like WoW orcs. That's the only thing.
Yeah.
Maybe
But
it's good.
I
It's
thought
probably
of-
good it's not a Warcraft comic, though, Sean. That's a
What?
gateway drug.
I'd read me a Warcraft comic. If it was
Yeah,
by G.
fair.
Willow Wilson and Chris Wildgoose,
Fair,
I'd be
fair,
reading
fair.
it. Good stuff. Buy it. What's next, Tyler?
I think that's all for what you're reading. Did you guys?
Oh.
Marco didn't have one. Oh, I've got a quick one. I didn't
yeah,
send it to
good.
Tyler, but I'm going to shout it out real quick.
Yeah.
I'm finally going to get to watch the end of Ash's run in the Pokemon anime. It's
Get
finally
those
airing in
tissues
the UK.
ready, man.
I'm hyped.
You
It's
ready?
gonna be my Saturday morning. I'm gonna get my score bunny. We're gonna go down and watch. I'm beside myself.
Bro, you didn't tell me in advance to finally give me a reason to put a Pokemon slide in here. Come on.
I didn't think I was gonna talk about it, but like
You
I was watching the show tonight, and I was like, it's one of these things that it's like got me like viscerally remembering all of the times I've been like incredibly emotional about Pokemon, and man, I'm here for it. I'm so excited.
Isn't it a bit of a greatest hits nostalgia tour for like very early Pokemon?
So this is gonna be what I'm gonna watch is the end of his world championship battle.
Okay.
I
got it.
think there is a separate season that is that,
Yes.
Yes.
and that will send me to therapy. Because
Alright,
yeah,
you can,
that's
you can
gonna
go see Jerry.
like fucking from what I understand, his Butterfree comes back.
Oh,
I ain't saying nothing.
Come on.
We finally find out that Mr. Mime was actually in a relationship with his mom.
There's a
Did they
shipping
oh,
there's a shipping thing happening on Tumblr with a I believe she's a Disney storyboard artist that has Ash's mom paired with Jessie from Team Rocket, and they're like a couple.
Oh, on Twitter.
She's on Twitter too, yeah.
Yeah.
And it's phenomenal.
Can I jump in? This is business news, but it's good news to share. We just got a new patron at the
hell yeah.
I Shall Become a Pal tier, and their name is Mike. So Mike, if you're watching live now, if you happen to be watching us, thank you so much. It feels kind of cool to be able to, to see this live. And they shared a really sweet message that I won't share. But the gist of the message was that we helped to reignite Mike and his daughter's love for comics. So that
hell
is
yeah.
very awesome. We are proud and honored to be a part of your life in that way. And thank you so much. Really appreciate it.
And
That's
please
the
make your
superpower tier?
Yes.
All right,
Yes.
cool.
Oh,
Well, I
awesome.
won't be
Nice.
nice. But yeah, you'll get one on Saturday, I guess.
please make yourself known too. If you're in the Discord, let us know. If you're in the chat, let us know. Let's get to know each other. We're in
Yeah.
this community. We're all in this
Oh,
together.
boy. Oh, boy.
Happy to send recommendations for whatever you guys
Swamp
are
Thing.
reading.
Oh.
Yeah, and they did ask for that, Marco. So
Oh,
we'll
amazing.
actually be held to that.
So I guess Marco's gonna do it.
Well, we've got some books that we're looking forward to next week, and we want to tell you guys about them in a little segment we like to call Pals Pulls. Tyler, take it away.
Alrighty, so Sean's up first with a little book I like to call Blade because that is the title of the book.
You know, comics are weird, and I feel like this book already ended just because of how long ago it was that this was teased. But now that we're here, I'm really excited to see what this is. Brian Edward Hill, to me, is one of the most underrated, underappreciated, and most talented writers in comics right now of the last 10 years. And I think the Killmonger book that he did was really great. This gives me, or it doesn't give me Killmonger vibes, but I definitely see how Brian Edward Hill could take an angry black vampire like Blade and tell an incredibly compelling story. So I cannot wait for this. I think this is going to be an absolute banger. And the Casagrande art,
Ooh.
it don't hurt.
Oh,
It don't hurt.
the Jordi Belair on colors.
Yeah.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
bud.
Oh,
Casagrande's the artist who worked on Black Widow with Kelly Thompson, right?
Yep,
Ooh, it's gonna be some fun stuff there. That is a crazy team for Blade.
totally.
Yeah, I'm excited for that. Another whammy. Next week we have issue 2 of A Vicious Circle.
Oh, what?
Yes, dude. Yes. This book, I feel like it turned us all it turned us all on our heads.
Mm-hmm.
Because it was so unexpected how good this was. It's kind of like hard to describe what kind of book this is. Honestly, I don't even want to. I think if you want something different, a lot of our audience asks for different books. You guys always say you want to try some new shit out. Matt Tomlin and Lee Bermeo did an amazing job with A Vicious Circle #1. Buy that and buy #2. The art is insane. If you've ever seen anything by Bermeo before, this is him. This is his renaissance. This is him showing his full ass in a comic book. And I'm here for it.
Yeah. Hype for this. I did not know this was coming out. Holy shit.
Sorry, I just got caught up on the TikTok comments and somebody, Tobag Jr. just said, talk about Spider-Man killing MJ with his nut.
Yeah.
Talk about it. How do we? I mean, what?
I don't know.
How do we talk about that?
I don't know.
I mean, you want to talk about it? We could talk about it. Read Spider-Man Reign. It's all about
Tremendous
it.
book. Tremendous book.
Wait, are you being legitimate?
Yeah,
It's
I love
a
that
great book.
Yeah.
But
Oh,
yes,
okay.
I'm being legitimate.
I never read it.
It's
Yeah.
great.
Interesting. Book club, maybe.
C.W. Gordon says, man, this was probably meant to prop up the movie that still hasn't been written. Yes, I think that is what Blade was intended for. Yeah. But Marvel also likes to have the trade on the stands in advance of the movie. So I don't remember when Blade was initially supposed to come out. It might have been this year.
Yeah.
But this will make a nice trade whenever it's out.
Also, I mean, Brian Edward Hill writes for TV. I'm just saying.
And
Once
at
that-
film, he's writing
yeah.
the Power Rangers movie.
True,
Right.
true. So, like, I don't know, like, maybe there's a guy right there standing in front of you the whole time. I wanted to check out, with Mark Miller, maybe having some really, really shitty tweets lately. But Mark Miller is coming out with a new book next week. Big Game #1 with art by Pepe Larraz. This is his event book. This is Nemesis, Kick-Ass, Wanted. All of that is all together here. Magic Order too, strangely. So this is like the Millerverse event comic. It's Pepe Larraz for me. I mean, I've read a lot of those Miller World books. Some good, some not, some kind of seeing more Larraz is the draw for me.
Can I stop you real quick?
Yeah.
Paul, how many of us are still reading The Ambassadors? By
Oh
Mark
no,
Miller?
not me. I have them downloaded. I just haven't got to it.
What?
Ambassadors?
The Quitely book. That was the first issue. Was Quitely.
Oh, yeah. No.
Yeah.
The reason why
I didn't read that.
the reason why I said that is because we all said, like, or at least I remember I said it, and I think Tyler said it, like, this was cool, we enjoyed it, but will we keep reading?
No.
I have not kept up.
Mm-mm.
And that's
I've-
always their trajectory.
I have trouble keeping up with a lot of Miller stuff, honestly.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it is neat to see Wanted. He marketed this as the Wanted sequel, so I don't know, see someone curve a bullet, I guess.
It's not
And then
not wanted enough.
yeah, and Void Rivals #2. I want to check this out. I don't expect to see any Transformers or GI Joe in this at all. I expect this to be an actual continuation of the story that got introduced in Void Rivals, which I think is what I like most about the book. So I'm curious to see where this goes. Maybe build that world out a bit. I don't know if it's gonna work. It does not. All right, I don't have slides for you two, but
Right.
Kale, Star Trek Day of Blood #1.
Yeah, so this is the first Star Trek event.
Mm.
This is the big crossover between Cisco and Worf. Let's see, Star Trek and Star Trek Defiant. They're going after Emperor Kahless.
Ooh.
And they're going after the great big Klingon apocalypse, I guess. It sounds rad.
Gotta love a Batleth.
Love a Klingon.
True. Yeah. Except after using the toilet. Kale, what was the? Yeah, you get a Klingon.
Okay.
Yeah, you want to just talk about Power Rangers?
Almost always.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Yeah, my next one is Power Rangers Unlimited Hyperforce #1. So Hyperforce is there was a tabletop game that happened in the far future of the Power Rangers, and the pink Time Force Ranger was like the mentor. It was really cool. It was a web actual play show for a little while. And Bulk was there. He's the Yellow Ranger, the guy who played Bulk. Anyway, really cool. They're getting their first. Yeah.
Wait, Bulk was a Yellow Ranger?
The guy who played Bulk,
The actor.
the actor.
Not Bulk himself, but the actor came back to there and
Right.
be a Yellow Ranger.
Right. He played the game as
God, okay.
character
I was
who
like,
was
wait.
the
So the
Yellow
actor
Ranger.
is in Power Ranger lore, and the actor who played. I was like, whoa, hold on there, hold on. Whenever you talk Power Rangers, I'm like, there's more than just Mighty Morphin. Like my brain just explodes whenever you talk it.
Ugh.
So.
Turbo.
What a disservice. And I've got Power Rangers opinions if you want to know them. This is going to be cool, I think.
Marco, Lock and Key, a new Lock and Key book. What is the full title? I'm sorry, I screwed this one up, but something broke.
So this is Welcome to Lovecraft #1. So it's actually a reprint of the first issue. However, for the 15th anniversary, Joe Hill and Gabriel Rodriguez have come back to provide an alternate ending to the first issue. I love Lock and Key. Absolutely adore this book, and so anytime that they come out with something, I pick it up, and I can't get enough of this story, this world, and so I don't know what they plan to do with this. Supposedly, it's just a one shot, and it's an alternate, again, just an alternate ending where it's the only bad edition, so only bad stuff happens to on top of what's already a fucked up book. So yeah, sign me up.
And then you also have Marvel Comics, a manga tribute.
Yeah. So I came across this searching through Comixology, and it involves a whole bunch of Japanese artists. There's 20 of them. They take on different characters, different sorts of stories. It's a huge book, and it's actually cheaper on digital. It's $13, $12.99 versus the $22 because it's only in hardcover. So if you want to save some money and look at some real good art they got Peach Momoko's on there, Yusuke Murata, a whole bunch of other stuff. Yeah, check it out. Looks cool.
Marco, have you ever heard of the Marvel Mangaverse?
No.
It's published in 2000.
Was
It's
it a
awful.
CB Cebulski thing?
Oh, you know what? I'm gonna click into this into this link. We're gonna find out. It's awful. I don't recommend it. You're gonna love it.
Wait, what?
You heard
Yeah,
him.
it's terrible.
Okay.
It's terrible. I highly recommend it.
Okay. All right.
Wow. Well, I highly recommend that you tune in this Saturday at 10:15 a.m. Eastern to the Comics Pals. We've got a good show planned for you. We're going to be talking all about the DC news of the week, the strike, and how that has evolved. Now the actors are on strike.
Oh shit! Really?
Marco, where do you live?
Bro, I work and then I come onto the show. I don't know what you want.
Do you not have like a
Part-
shit break at all where you're on your phone like a normal human being?
Diligent.
Part 2 of the history of the DC Comics implosion, and a lot more. So the show this week should be a lot of fun. Come join us. That's Saturday at 10:15 a.m. Eastern. You can watch this show live Thursdays at 6 p.m. Eastern. I will give. Can I give this? Yeah, I'll give a tease as to what I intend for us to read this week. We've got Big Game #1, Void Rivals #2, Blade #1, and A Vicious Circle #2. So, some really great books. If you want to influence that, you can vote in the book club, you can vote in the listener pick poll, which is up on Twitter every single Friday. And it will have Night Terror Superman #1, X-Men Red #13, Charm City #1, and The Vigil. So lots of good books on the poll and in the main show. So tune in for that this Thursday to find out what we'll be reviewing. Join our Discord server. Come hang out with us over there. We're always having a fun time. Patreon.com/thecomicspals is the absolute best way to support. You guys heard earlier that Mike decided to support us. And that's an awesome thing that he did. If you want to do the same thing, you can head on over to our Patreon page and check it out and decide if it's for you. We're always giving you bang for your buck. There's a lot of stuff on there that you can check out. A whole exclusive show called Palling Around. We recorded one the other night and we had a good time. So, yeah, that's there for you guys if you want it. Everything else at the Comics Pals. Thank you so much for joining us. Hope to see you Saturday. Until then.